This analyst has blasted the judges on the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal for the judgment they gave Nigerians on the 6th of September 2023. How will all of you have the same judgment? No dissenting voice. Everyone is just saying the same thing. I want us to watch this video, guys.
The 5 judges, not one dissenting voice. And that gives me a cause for concern. If you are to put, and I'm not by any stretch of imagination ridiculing our judges, I have a lot of respect for the judiciary and for the judges and the the presiding judges. But one would have expected that at least there would be 1 or 2 dissenting voices. If that did not obtain, Charles, you would want to see a judgment that is carried out in a meticulous, mature, and plausible manner that is convincing enough. But what I saw in the judgment, I'm sorry to say I'm not a lawyer, was like all the 5 judges were in a hurry to impress someone.
All the judges were in a hurry to impress someone. This is what Nigerians have been saying from what we saw that the judges did on that fateful day. All of them were actually in a hurry to impress someone. You are not using the facts, you are not using the evidence that the other parties has presented before you. All you were after is that you just wanted to uphold Tinubu's presidency. You just wanted to ensure that he remained in power, not minding the evidence that other parties have presented. Let me allow us to watch the remaining video, guys.
Every spectator is either a coward or a traitor. And I'm sorry to say that the Nigerian judiciary is in the mix. And so what you see is what you get. Remember, in this country, we had a senator. Now, before the senator, just a few days to this judgment, Justice Mary Odili came out and made some pronouncements that were ridiculously sub judice. And nobody berated her. Nobody called her to even apologize. She went roughshod and came up with, a statement that was literally made the judgment a foregone conclusion. Before then, remember, a senator from my state, Senator Bulkachua, told Nigerians how, on the floor of the Nigerian Senate, for crying out loud, Charles, that he influenced his wife. He talked to his wife to influence outcomes of court judgments.
And his wife is a judge.
And his wife was a judge. Not only a judge at that, she was the president of the Court of Appeal. And no rebuke, no reprimand, no investigation, nothing. So when you put the two together and you are coming to the same Court of Appeal to have a judgment between the APC, the PDP, and the Labour Party, the two parties that you said in your introduction had about more than 60% of the vote, and the other party that had about 37%, the judges, it would appear that they were in the 5 judges, not one dissenting voice. And that gives me a cause for concern. If you are to put, and I'm not by any stretch of imagination ridiculing our judges, I have a lot of respect for the judiciary and for the judges and the presiding judges. But one would have expected that at least there would be 1 or 2 dissenting voices. If that did not obtain, Charles, you would want to see a judgment that is carried out in a meticulous, mature, and plausible manner that is convincing enough. But what I saw in the judgment, I'm sorry to say I'm not a lawyer, was like all the 5 judges were in a hurry to impress someone. Materials, evidence, instances, sightings, video recordings, clips, actual certified true copies of thousands of documents across the 774 local government, 36 states, across all the areas of complaints were submitted to the courts. And at the very beginning, Nigerians, the PDP especially, and the Labour also, I want to believe, asked for live television coverage of the proceedings. The courts refused, because it would have been clear to Nigerians that the amount of evidence that was put forward by our team was beyond all reasonable doubt, irrevocable. So and therefore, I want to believe that clearly what we got was a pronouncement. It was not a judgment. But then, as a law-abiding party, we go with what was the outcome from the courts. And now we will go to the Supreme Court. But we don't agree with the judgment. And it is our own inalienable right. When we don't agree, we pursue the next line, the next course of action. Secondly, we don't necessarily want to lampoon the judiciary. But like I said at the beginning of this program, what obtained prior to the pronouncements, albeit there were retractions, or they tried to put a spin to say no, they didn't mean what they say. But the judiciary is itself on trial. We don't believe what obtained at the tribunal, at the Court of Appeal, was justice enough served in a manner that reflect the true process that was on ground. And we believe that the Supreme Court will acquit itself properly, looking at the facts and the figures and the instances, not, like you said, the emotions or even the vituperations of politicians, but just on the substance of the law. I'm not a lawyer.
No, I understand that, but the judges will say, and some lawyers, senior lawyers, have supported that the justices or the judges were simply interpreting the Electoral Act as it is. Do you believe that electoral reform, I mean, a lot of members of the PDP, many ordinary Nigerians and experts have been speaking evocatively about, as they see, as they see it, what they consider to be the diabolical events that they believe continue to strip away integrity in Nigerian elections and politics. And you clearly are one of those who thinks that way. Well, but are you one of those who thinks that electoral reform is urgently needed, and that if that reform takes place, it makes it less likely that what judges or whoever can stray from that thing and find justification?
Absolutely. I think we need reforms. We need reforms in a manner that will create not only a level playing field, but reforms that will ensure that every contestant is given that level playing field. And then the outcome of the elections, when and if they are challenged in any court of law, it will be seen to be transparent enough based on the rules of the game and the rules of the books. What happened in this presidential election and even in some gubernatorial election, we didn't have, if INEC knew that IREV was not an issue, they ought to have told Nigerians from day one, don't rely on IREV, don't call a press conference to tell the world that you are going to deliver a quintessential election based on best practices, based on the technology that you are deploying, only for you to come on the final analysis, as Macbeth will say, in the deepest consequence, to bring the roof down and to tell Nigerians, and even the courts endorsed that. IREV, the court said, was not a platform that is bound by law to justify the outcome of any election. Why spend billions upon billions of public money in a country where right now, as we are speaking, hunger is the norm, not even the electoral process?
These judges indeed worked against Nigerians. You said that the IREF was never important, just like INEC noted, but millions of naira was actually invested into that IREF. If it was not important, we would have used that money for something else, just like he said. Nigerians would have had access to that money, so it will be invested in something else, not in IREF that INEC does not want to use, not in IREF that INEC will open their mouths and say is not important, and then the court of law that is supposed to call them to order will rubber stamp it and say they have the right to choose whether to use the IREF or not to use the IREF. This is something that the nation has invested so much in. This is something that INEC kept on telling Nigerians and anybody that cares to listen, that they are going to make use of technology in order to ensure that the 2023 election will be the best election that Nigerians have ever witnessed. But at the end of the day, both their technology, their innovations that they brought, they never used any of them. And then the court is stamping it and saying they have the right to choose whether to use it or not to use it. And that's how we saw the same thing in other judgments, 25% in Abuja, Tinubu's forfeiture, and other cases that was presented by both the Labour Party and the PDP. They were all trashed. They were all trashed by the judges without these judges doing the proper thing. But like we keep saying, we are going to the Supreme Court, and all we are saying as well-meaning Nigerians is that the Supreme Court will do the right thing, is that the Supreme Court will give justice to Nigerians, and at the end of the day, we'll regain our country and Nigeria will be great again. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Please do also share your thoughts about the video in the comment section. Please do also like this video, and please, if you are yet to subscribe to our channel, do also hit the subscribe button so you get notifications whenever we post new updates.